Hello everyone, my name is Hisham. I'm the owner of Clemson Aeronautics, and we are building an RV-14A, and this is the second video, and it is about the vertical stabilizer. Now before I started this video, I did a few things to expedite the video a little bit, to make it a little shorter, and it calls the manual on page 6-3. It calls for the hinge pins to be final drilled to number 12, which is just a little over 3/16, and I ordered a reamer for it to make it a nice clean hole. And all I've done really is put the reamer in the drill press at a very slow speed, and I had a block of wood, and I had made a little groove opening for the reamer to sink into, and I was just holding it like this in the drill press and just going ever so slowly in and out, slow, all of them. And I radiused this block of wood a little bit to be a little bit more radius than this, so it wouldn't be rocking. But that's all I've done. There's nothing tricky about it or anything, so I've done all 6 of them, and we'll set these aside for the time being. The other thing that I had done is I straightened this. This is the 808 pp, the doubler for the rear spar. This more times than not, I think it comes in just curved. They have a bow in it. You have to straighten that out before you put it in there. I read somewhere where Ben said it's okay to go ahead and but I felt like I need to straighten it out first, and I did, and took liberty and scuffed one side. I deburred all of it too. I mean, you can see all the edges are now nice and smooth, and the knockouts are also nice and smooth on both sides. And I scuffed one side. That side is going in like this. Now I don't have to mark this anymore. I can mark it rear here in a couple of places, or aft, forward or aft. I guess we're supposed to write aft. We can write aft. Anyhow, but this cuff mark tells me that it is sitting inside like this, so I can't mix it up. And so this is deep straightened and deburred. This is also deburred, and this is the VS-803 pp. I deburred all the edges on it. So of course not deburred the whole, because we're gonna have to do something with that right now. Now this, at this point, is calling for us to cleco, put the doubler inside the rear spar and cleco it, and cleco the rudder hinges. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll start right back up. And now I have clecoed everything on the rear spar, and I had to actually drill the hinges, the mounting hole hinges, to 1/8 of an inch, because the cleco didn't want to go through it, so I had to clean it up with 1/8 of an inch. Then the manual calls right now for final drill number 30 hole pattern through the 411 pp and 412 pp hinge brackets. So I do have a number 30 reamer, and I'm gonna do that right now. That really worked out very well. Came out cleaner than I thought. And same thing for the top one. So I'll stop the video. I'll be right back. Now it calls for final drill all the VS-803 PP rear spar to the VS-808 PP rear spar doubler holes. So we're gonna do same thing. We're just gonna use the number 30 reamer on all these holes. Now that we have done the final drilling on all the holes, there is one thing left here to do, which is these hinges, the bottom ones, are missing 2 holes in each one. These have certain purpose to them, so the manual says not to do anything with these, but these we need to open up. So we are going to match drill these 2 holes, the upper ones, with the number 30 drill all the way through. It will open up the doubler and the rear spar to number 30, and it will drill a hole that does not exist in the upper hinge pin in the corners there. And we're going to use these holes as guides, so I'm going to put it in the drill press and drill it this way so I can take my time and make a nice clean hole. I'll finish that up. I'll be right back. Okay folks, I match drilled these 2 holes that did not exist before using this as a pattern when it was sitting over here, and it is steel, so it takes a little bit of pressure on the drill bit to get it through. So if you're not absolutely straight, the drill bit can slide and it can open up this hole that you are using as a pattern, especially the one in the spar itself, because it's so thin. So we have to be careful with that, and it's best to use a drill press to do that and be directly perpendicular with it, and use just a little bit of pressure and put a block of wood underneath it. So have it clamped down from these 3 holes and then put it on a block of wood, kind of like this, so it would drill it with, of course, everything is clicked together. So and it took a little bit of chamfering. Also, I had another chamfer tool that I used for steel. I had to chamfer both sides on these. The other holes in the hinges. Since I just reamed it, I didn't even have to chamfer it. There's no burr, and the size on it is perfect and everything. So it's 1/128. So this worked out good. Now all the hinges are done. You don't have to mark the bottom ones because obviously the top hinge have 6 holes, the bottom hinge have only 4. So you don't have to mark these, but of course I hope we marked the others. Like the top one, I had upper and lower, and also the middle one have upper and lower on it. So we know where to put these back up. Now what's left here is I have to deburr all the holes right now on both sides of the brace and the rear spar. Have to do it on both sides. So, and you all know the handy dandy slow drill, 180 RPM. We'll go ahead and do that, and we'll be back. In step 5 in page 603, it says adjust flange angles for the VS-706 tip rib to match the taper of the spars and the skin. Both spars and the skin. Now this is going to be sitting on top of the rudder like that, and the skin is going to be going with an angle this way. So as the spars. The spar, of course, have an angle on it. What it means is you adjust the flange inside this way. Now when you receive this and you set it down, it appears like it does have a angle on it, and this is what happened. I actually had it fluted, like you can tell over here. There is flutes on it, and it was flat. But once I started bending these to match the skin and the angle and the taper on the spars, it started bending again this way, and that is normal. So I have to tweak the fluting again to make it flat again. And honestly, in AMP school at Greenville Technical College, I didn't do a whole lot of that fluting. I've done a lot of the rest of the stuff in airframe, but we were pretty much working on certified aircraft. We didn't actually have to do new ribs and things like that, so we didn't have to do a lot of fluting. And I was gonna try this off camera first, and I did, and it was flat as a pancake. I mean, it worked out great, and it is really easy. And so if you're at that point, fear not. This is curved this way, and you come to the high spar of the curve and you flute it. And here is the fluting pliers that I got from Cleveland Aircraft Tool. They are really good, and what I did is I held it like this and really done it just 2 fingers very lightly, and I start with 2 points in the middle on each side, like I would do the 2 points here, then the other points across, and so on. So we start with 2 points in the middle on both sides, and we set it down, and you'll find it very close then you start going out to the left and to the right, and just a little bit at a time, just using 2 fingers like this, and just very lightly. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure, and you will feel it right away. So don't worry about it. If you're worried about that subject, right about after the first 5 or 10 minutes, you'll be very good at it. And right now the rest are okay. I didn't have to adjust the angle on it because the way they are sitting, like this one is the 705, and it is sitting in the skeleton like that, and this is opened up a little bit anyway on both sides, like this way and this way, and this is how the skin is slanted anyway. So they ask you in the manual specifically for the 706 to be adjusted, and that is why. So now that I adjusted the flange to match the skin, I will have to reflute it again. Just touch, I'm gonna do just a little bit where I was to bring that curve back up again. That's all I'm gonna do. One more thing on the fluting. After you finish fluting, what you can do, you can get a string and put it on the first hole and look and adjust it to the last hole, and you can tell that the string covers all the holes. That means it is straight in the relaxed position. You might not be able to touch it because it's curved. You have to have it off a little bit, and you kind of look at it from the side and so forth. But the string idea is very good. I saw that on the internet too. So now 76 is adjusted, and it talks about radiusing the 705 and the 706, and they're talking about this part right here. Evidently the rudder skin is very thin, and if you put it incorrectly in any way, or if you put it correctly but this is kind of sharp, it's gonna scarred from the inside. Actually it will be protruding from the outside. So you need to round this pretty good and be very careful when you're putting the I'm sorry, I might have said rudder, I meant the vertical stabilizer skin. So maybe I caught that in time. So the skin on the vertical stabilizer is thin, and you can actually crease it from the inside with this, and that is the 705, and that is the 706. So it's a good idea, and that's what it's called for in the manual, is to radius these to make them nice and smooth, nothing pointy, before you put the skin of the vertical stabilizer on. So this is it for today's work that I'm gonna do. We are at a position right now where we're ready to assemble the skeleton, put all the ribs on the spars and the skin, and we're gonna do that hopefully tomorrow. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on the next video very soon.